administration wonders why people are saying that they are trying to form a dictatorship. Well, look at the landscape. Arresting Don Lemon, who covered a protest in Minneapolis, is just insane, ridiculous, dictator like. This is the playbook that dictators use to destroy democracies and take the will of the people away. It is as simple as that. The First Amendment is the First Amendment for a reason. It is considered the preferred amendment when you have to start balancing what's more important. The framers of the Constitution knew that a free press was essential to a democracy. Without a free press, you don't have a democracy. And it's real clear that Donald Trump and company doesn't want a free press. The idea that a journalist, which Don Lemon has been for 30 years, would walk into a church and film a demonstration which is of national interest, and then to say somehow, when you watch the video, they say he's part of the protest. Watch that video. He is covering the protest. He is covering it. That's what journalists do. I covered riots. I was a local reporter in Los Angeles for 15 years, and I covered riots and floods and earthquakes and all sorts of things where I had to step into areas where there were police, where there was activity, private property. When you're covering an event like this, like a protest, which I've covered many, you step into it. And that's what journalists do. And that's what Don Lemon did. The idea that the Justice Department is saying he walked onto private property, that is insane. A church invites everybody in. Have you ever seen a church with a no trespassing sign saying no journalists allowed? Have you ever seen any house of worship that says that? It is insane that they're making this stupid argument transparent. And yet, a grand jury indicted Don Lemon after a magistrate said there's insufficient evidence. Well, a grand jury will indict anybody because Don Lemon doesn't appear before the grand jury. Abby Lowell, his lawyer, doesn't appear before the grand jury. The Justice Department says what the Justice Department wants the grand jury to believe, and almost every time they believe it. It's all the way it's skewed. This is a ridiculous assault. And I don't want to say just on the First Amendment. It's a ridiculous assault on democracy. Trump administration should be ashamed of itself, but they're not. And they will continue to do this. And they are going after journalists. They're getting search warrants for their homes. It is obvious what's happening in this country, people. Look at what is happening. You're going to look back in 2 years if somebody doesn't stand up to them, and I know people are now, but you're going to look back in 2 years and say, wow, we didn't see that coming. Well, Neville Chamberlain should have saw it coming, and he didn't. And we don't want to be in that position. So wise up, everybody, because it's obvious what's happening here. This is an outrage. So the Trump administration.
I've spent my entire career covering the news. I will not stop now. In fact, there is no more important time than right now, this very moment, for a free and independent media that shines a light on the truth and holds those in power accountable. Again, I will not stop now. I will not stop ever. Last night, the DOJ sent a team of federal agents to arrest me in the middle of the night for something that I've been doing for the last 30 years, and that is covering the news. The First Amendment of the Constitution protects that work for me and for countless of other journalists who do what I do. I stand with all of them, and I will not be silenced. I look forward to my day in court. Thank you all. I need sunglasses. Good, I'm good. How are you? Wow. Can everybody hear me? Are you guys set? Everybody ready? So look, I want to thank everybody for their support. It truly means the world to me. I have no idea what's going on because obviously I haven't seen anything. I have spent my entire career covering the news. I will not stop now. In fact, there is no more important time than right now, this very moment, for a free and independent media that shines a light on the truth and holds those in power accountable. Again, I will not stop now. I will not stop ever. Last night, the DOJ sent a team of federal agents to arrest me in the middle of the night for something that I've been doing for the last 30 years, and that is covering the news. The First Amendment of the Constitution protects that work for me and for countless of other journalists who do what I do. I stand with all of them, and I will not be silenced. I look forward to my day in court. Thank you all.
DonLemon arrested on federal charges. Not words I wanted to say. Not words I'm surprised to be saying. They went the cheap route fast, signing their own complaint and trying to get a judge who said no. They appealed. They said no. They then went to a grand jury. They got probable cause. Yeah, you can indict a ham sandwich. There's a legal analysis here. There's a journalism analysis here, and there's a personal analysis. Look, I do not want to have to be defending what Don was doing or how he did it. But first of all, what the president put out, the White House put out, when life gives you lemons, you just made a lot of lemonade for DonLemon. You made him a martyr. You increased his following. You made him the face of resistance to you, and you made him a lot of money. Know that. Now, you can think that's good or bad, but that is part of the net effect. Legally, I don't see how they make the case unless you prosecute DonLemon as a protester or a rioter or as a participant. And he says that he was there doing reporting, and therefore he was not a participant. Now, they're going to argue that. Charging him with the Ku Klux Klan Act, I mean, irony of ironies. A black gay man in the media, you're charging under the Ku Klux Klan Act, looking for 40 years. Legally, did that protest, or whatever you want to call it, go too far? Yeah, I think you can say that. Is this charge going to stand? I don't think so. Now, is there more to be said? Yes, and I will. But let's start there.
Now, I know you guys have heard what happened to DonLemon. He was arrested today. DonLemon is being arrested for doing his job. You know what's really sad about this DonLemon situation is that Nicki Minaj wanted this to happen. Nicki Minaj was coming after DonLemon. Such a backstab. The fact that she was in Donald's ear, she probably was like, oh, I want this DonLemon guy. We need to get him. The way DonLemon responds, because he's like, why are you, for us? Why are you doing this? This is some, as they say, crazy work. This is crazy work Nicki Minaj is doing. And we all know DonLemon. He's one of the greatest journalists of our times, period. Doing great work, you know, has been doing it for 30 years, was on CNN. And they fired him off some bullshit. And then he moved to the podcast space. He moved to the, you know, the YouTube space. And I was part of him starting his podcasting because I was with him when he was campaigning for Kamala. He asked me, he said, hey, man, how do you think I'm going to do? And I'm not on CNN no more. And you've been podcasting. You know, how do you think I'm going to do? I said, Don, you're going to do great. You have freedom now. You're going to do a lot. I think you're going to be even much better. You're going to be able to say what you want. And along with your journalist background, you're also going to be able to really do a lot of stuff with the people and be close to the people. And yeah. And so the DonLemon show has gained a lot of traction. He's got so many followers and fans so quickly. And the work that he's doing, he's on the streets talking to the people. The man on the street thing is great. And that's like old school journalists. Yeah, that's old school journalism, man, that I appreciate. And that's why I've been on this show many times. And you see Joy Reid comes on. He has so many great guests that come on. It's just a lot of great thinkers and intellects that come on his show. And it's amazing. And Don is passionate about what he does. He cares about people. He cares about justice. He cares about equality among races, among, sexual preference, all of that, man. That's what he does, 100%. That's my brother from another mother. And I feel helpless because you go, what do you do now? All we can do is really hope for the best and keep Don in our thoughts. And we all I'm trying to keep in touch with him, sending him messages. So hopefully we see him return back. And that's what we want to see, because DonLemon is a man of the people. And that's real talk. You don't have to agree with him all the time. But one thing I know is that Don always has good intention. It's no different than, this is a society that everybody's sensitive about anything, especially this administration. They can't stand journalists, especially if it's not journalists that say things they want to hear, which is insanely crazy. All right. We should be able to agree to disagree on things. And it's just like comedy. Sometimes you got people that come in to comedy clubs just to be offended because you didn't say the jokes that they wanted to hear. Well, what the is the purpose of being a comedian if I can express my own opinions, And listen, I always say, if you don't like what I'm saying, stay out of the comedy club. Why are you here? In fact, you can be at the comedy club, but why not this? Why don't you vet it? Why don't you watch the comedian shit before you go to the comedy club and then go and see the person and see if you like him or not? Anyway, keep DonLemon in your thoughts, and I have a positive feeling he's going to be fine, and he's going to be able to tell us what's going on, and keep him in your prayers too. All right, and let's hope for the best. Now I know you guys.
Last night, federal agents arrested journalist DonLemon in Los Angeles after he recently covered protest activities in Minnesota. Once again, the administration is behaving no differently from police states and authoritarian regimes across history. They've arrested a journalist for the crime of doing his job. And let's be very clear, this arrest is not just about one journalist in one incident. The arrest is a dark message to journalists everywhere. If you dare criticize this administration, watch your back. That's not a democracy. That's a police state. And that is pure authoritarian bile. Democracy will suffer if the government chokes our civil liberties. Under this administration, the Department of Justice has all too often become the Department of Vengeance. DonLemon should be released at once and the frivolous charges against him dropped. Last night,
DonLemon got arrested last night. If you haven't heard, a legacy journalist with 30 plus years in the game, boots on the ground in Minnesota, telling the people what we need to know, telling us what we need to know. He got arrested for telling the truth. He got arrested for being a journalist, for showing us what we need to see. They're criminalizing him for doing his job. This is where we are as a nation. But honestly, this is where we've always been. This is who we've always been. This is who this country has always been. I posted about the Palmer raids last night, and I see extreme parallels, this included. They arrested journalists in 1919, 1920 for telling the truth, and they're doing it again. Keep your eyes open. They might be coming for you next. Who the fuck knows?
DonLemon, as most of you guys already know by now, was arrested by the feds while attending a concert or something. Federal agents came up in there and arrested my mans and locked him up. DonLemon, he's a journalist who went off on his own. After losing his job, I believe it was at CNN, NBC, one of those big news outlets. He's no longer at that company. So he actually is a journalist who went off on his own. I support DonLemon wholeheartedly. I watch all of his videos because he talks about some real stuff that's going on in America, and people don't like it. So they saying that the president of the United States had him arrested because he allegedly went into a church in Minneapolis, Minnesota recently and caused a protest, which he did not participate in any type of protest. What Don Lemon did was what journalists do. He went there to film it. The government has a vendetta against him. And the reason why, when someone that big has a name as big as Don Lemon, people is going to listen to him. He is our voice. The government feels that people like him with a voice like that is very dangerous because people will start listening to Don Lemon. They will start supporting him. And it's sad when the government will support pedophile more than they will support a journalist. These journalists right here in the United States, they don't have it made. They have it bad at all. But I hope when Don Lemon gets out, because I'm sure he has a team of attorneys sitting there doing everything they can to get him out here. I hope when he gets out that he continues reporting on the corrupt government. Most importantly, we know the lawsuit is coming. I'm going to be clapping the moment that I hear that a lawsuit has been filed against the government for wrongfully arresting this man. I'm going to be clapping. I'm going to be jumping up and down for joy. Don Lemon has reported on the facts of everything that's going on with the government. Kristi Noem, JD Vance, he's reported on the corruptness going on with the ICE agents, starting with Nicole Good, all the way down to Alex Pretty, who was recently killed by ICE agents. The government gets nervous when people like him start reporting, but the lawsuit is coming down because you can't stop it, man. Don Lemon, we support you, man. We'll be waiting on you to get out, man. Guys, thanks for watching.
Hey there. So there's a report right now that last night in LA, while Don Lemon was covering the Grammy Awards, he was arrested by federal officers. This is in relation to the journalism he was doing inside of a Minneapolis church when a protest broke out because those protesters believed that the pastor also was the leader of a field office of ICE. Don Lemon was in the church, and when the protest broke out, he started interviewing people, asking them about what was going on and documenting what was happening. That's journalism. Now, the Fourth Estate has typically been protected, and the ability to witness and report on anything in the public sphere has also been protected by your First Amendment. Last week, I said that the Trump administration would be pushing the boundaries on the First Amendment and on freedom of the press, and that it would begin with the arrest of a capital J journalist. It wouldn't be a creator that they go after because too much of the public would be like, oh, creators aren't real media. Well, Don Lemon is a journalist with 30 years of capital J journalism experience. He's going to appear in a federal court in Los Angeles today. I hope that they are going to release him, but Don Lemon, capital J journalist, was arrested by federal agents and held in detention at least overnight, and we'll find out when he will be released. The other two protesters from the event have been released, but they were held for like 2 or 3 days. I cannot overstate to you what a big deal this is and how concerning it is.
Don Lemon and those protesters should not have busted up in that church. Those laws were created to protect us, Black people, congregants in churches, because we were victims of arson and threats and intimidations with people coming into our places of worship. I could see if that man was a real criminal, was really out here abusing children, doing something crazy, but they went in that church because they found out the man was a pastor and worked for ICE. That's not good enough reason for you to bust up in a church and disrupt a whole entire service and everything else because one man you found out is an employee, is a government employee, and also is a pastor. They had no proof that this man had ever reported anyone, deported anyone, nothing like that. They just found out he was playing a dual role, and I can guarantee you people that ain't stepped foot in a church thought that they could say, well, it's not right for him to be a pastor and be an ICE official. Who are you? Not as if ICE is not necessary at all, because it is. There are illegal people that come to our country that have to be managed and sent back. So just because someone works for ICE doesn't mean that they're evil. Okay, just like people working for the food stamp office. What you gonna do? Run down to the person's church because Donald Trump done cut off your food stamps? So you gonna go chase after the food stamp director? You know what I'm saying? No, this is a lack of respect for God, a lack of reverence for the house of the Lord. So, do I think he needs to go to jail for a long time or anything? No, but I think they need to learn a lesson to not be playing with the house of the Lord. Have a good day. Don Lemon.
Okay, we're getting our first look at charges being filed against Don Lemon and a group of other people in connection with their presence at a protest at a church. They are accused of violating people's First Amendment right to practice their religion. Now, obviously, the freedom of religion is one of the core rights enshrined in the U.S. Constitution, but this indictment starts wading into really tricky territory where it talks about prosecuting journalists for practicing the craft of journalism.
I'm just here photographing. Are you okay? I'm not part of the group. I'm just here photographing. I'm a journalist.
For instance, in a few places in the indictment, it points out the fact that DonLemon took steps to maintain secrecy of the operation, saying specifically he took steps to maintain operational secrecy by reminding certain co-conspirators not to disclose the target of the operation. Well, that comes up all the time in journalistic context. Think about in national security, where reporters might be embedded with folks overseas, but will not disclose to viewers or others where they actually are. That's a common practice.
There are some folks here who are praying.
And a number of places in the indictment point to DonLemon giving observations of what he's seeing, which also are incredibly common journalistic practices. With this indictment, the Justice Department is going down the road of taking practices that really are and ought to be protected under the First Amendment and making them into potentially criminal acts. This has huge implications, not just for independent journalists, but legacy media organizations alike.
I'm just here photographing. Are you okay? I'm not part of the group. I'm just here photographing. I'm a journalist.
This ain't God's house. It's the house of the devil.
Excuse me, sir. Can I get right here? Thank you. I'm sorry.
I'm glad they arrested DonLemon for his role in the Minnesota church storming. What he did was violate 18 U.S. Code Section 248. This is the FACE Act. Now, some are going to say, hey, that's only about abortion centers. No, it's not. It's also about places of worship like churches, mosques, etc. Now, some are going to say he was just there observing. He was a journalist. No, he was part of the planning process. There's videos of him that he uploaded, he put up, where he's saying, we're going to go somewhere, but I can't tell you. We're going to do something, but I can't tell you. That's called conspiracy. And once he goes there and enters a church with them illegally, he's part of the illegal act. Just because he's interviewing people inside the church does not preclude him from being prosecuted for violating and interrupting their right to religious freedom.
Good. Renee 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 Good. Don't shoot. 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 Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. This is the house of God, and we are watching. Ice.
After this stunt, do y'all think that this nigga DonLemon didn't learn his lesson? Because he thought he got smooth away. He did not think that his ass was gonna get arrested. But they was not playing with him. They used the Ku Klux Klan Act, and they went and got him this morning. Do y'all think he learned his lesson? Because even his response after it all happened, he thought he got smooth away, right? I think this is the funniest shit ever. Some people were, oh, it's wrong, authoritarianism. No, I don't think so. I think he got what he deserved, all right? You don't run in somebody's church and disturb it the way he did. And he was real smug about it too. That's the part that killed me, how smug he was while he was in their church doing what he was doing. But he got what he deserved. Arrested this morning. I think that shit is absolutely hilarious. But do you think he's going to do... He's probably going to get out and go on a straight campaign. I guarantee it. He's going to get out and go on a straight campaign. because he's a prima donna.